Before installing the APG carbon fiber front fenders, you will need to trim the front valance. Using a straight edge, draw a line from the edge of the body line just below the headlight to the bottom of the valance as shown. Use this line as a guide to trim the valance. Next, you will need to drill a hole through the valance so the stud on the inside of the front fender can be properly secured to the valance. Measure 10 inches from the edge of the valance where it meets the grille and mark a line as shown. Next, measure 2 3/4 from the top of the valance along your 10-inch line and mark the hole location. This hole location will be 3/4 of an inch away from the edge of the front fender once fully installed. Drill a small pilot hole through the mark to begin, gradually stepping up the bit size to a 1/2 inch diameter hole. Ensure the hole goes all the way through the valance and the plastic housing behind it.
APG's carbon fiber front fenders come with a mounting stud on the inside surface of the fender, and it must be installed in a specific order to avoid damaging existing paint. First, open the door on the side of the truck you're working on. Carefully place the back of the fender in place along the mounting tabs. Next, pivot the front of the fender inwards and ensure the top of the fender lines up with the mounting locations along the hood line. Lastly, ensure the front valance is sitting inside the carbon fiber fender itself, and carefully maneuver the fender to insert the stud into the hole in the valance. Keep in mind, the front corner of the inside lip must fit underneath the headlight tab. Lightly tap the fender to push it in place. While the fender is loosely held in place, begin lining up all the mounting holes. Begin installing the factory fender hardware with the windshield cowl bolt first. Next, install the bolt through the headlight tab. Install the 2 bolts along the bottom of the fender at the rocker panel. You may need to place some upward pressure on the fender before tightening these bolts in order to properly line up the fender with the door. Once these initial bolts are fastened properly, continue installing any remaining bolts securing the front fender in place. Next, secure the stud in the fender to the valance using a 10mm socket to tighten the supplied nut on the inside of the valance. Identify the factory cowl end pieces that were removed during the OEM front fender removal process. These 2 plastic pieces will be trimmed before being reinstalled. Using flush cuts, trim off the tabs that hold it in place, and trim the backbone as shown in the video. This piece must be reinstalled with windshield adhesive, so be sure to sand down the edge of the plastic to allow proper adhesion. Test fit the plastic trim piece in place between the hood hinge and the windshield. If there's a proper fit, use the supplied windshield adhesive to hold it in place. Trim off any excess adhesive with a razor blade. Test the upward and downward motion of the hood to check for clearance, and make any necessary relief cuts to the rubber as necessary.